Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your game by subscribing to our channel so you never miss our daily content. For exclusive access to our premium betting picks, join our Patreon. Find the link in the comments section below. Stay ahead with High Stakes. Alabama versus Wisconsin. The first meeting between these schools came 96 years ago, and there has been only one other meeting since then. The teams have split the head-to-head series, but the Crimson Tide won the more modern battle back in 2015, 35-17. Alabama needs to make sure they are not caught off guard looking ahead to number 1 Georgia next week, but with this being their first road game of the season, they should be in the proper headspace. The Tide have yet to unleash Heisman hopeful Jalen Milroe, and given the lack of tests that the Wisconsin defense has faced, this could be a prime opportunity for the Alabama QB to step up. The Badgers will surely look to stack things up at the line in an attempt to slow a potent Crimson Tide rushing attack, but they struggled at times keeping back the likes of Western Michigan and South Dakota. Maybe more concerning is the Wisconsin offense and their inability to go off against softer defenses. The Alabama defense is a much different beast, and I expect the Badgers to struggle mightily to get the ball moving. Take Alabama to cover. Between these two teams, the under has hit in 3 of their 4 games this season. The only over came when Bama dropped 63 in their season opener. The issue here is going to be Wisconsin's offense. Can they do enough to contribute to the cause here? We should expect the Tide to put up a decent number of points here as their offense has gotten off to a hot start. As noted above, they've yet to unleash Milroe, so they could look to incorporate more of a passing game here while having the run game to lean on should things go wrong. They will be able to manipulate the untested pass defense of the Badgers, and that helps our cause here. Alabama is averaging 52.5 points per game. They shouldn't need to do that much here, but they are going to be required to carry the bulk of the load. Wisconsin solves some things in the second half and does their part. Take the over. Boston College versus Missouri. Both Boston College and Missouri come into Saturday afternoon's big game playing their best ball, and it should be a good game. That being said, I am taking the Eagles on the spread here, plus 17. I do believe Missouri will win the game in the end, especially playing at home, but the odds makers are being borderline disrespectful to BC here. Missouri has crushed their first 2 opponents by a combined score of 89-0, but they have not faced any kind of a test yet either, playing against just an FCS school and a G5 opponent that went 3-9 last season. BC, on the other hand, has already stood up to a tough road test, defeating number 10 FSU on the road by 15 points and then manhandling their FCS opponent in the same way Missouri did. Missouri should be the favorite here, but BC should be able to keep this one close and certainly within 17 points. I am taking the under of 53.5 points between the Tigers and the Eagles on Saturday afternoon. These two teams have allowed a combined 13 points heading into this weekend and will be relying on their defenses heavily this season. While both teams have put 50 points themselves in games this year, they came against cream puff FCS schools and should not mean much heading into Saturday's game. Both teams rely heavily on their ground games as well, especially BC, which should chew up the clock and limit the scoring potential of both sides. Missouri has allowed fewer than 300 yards of total offense so far this season, while BC limited a top 10 school with playoff aspirations to just 13 points. While it's very unlikely either team pitches another shutout, we should be looking at a relatively low-scoring affair in this one. Massachusetts versus Buffalo. The UMass Minutemen are getting ready to continue improving on the offensive side of the ball as they are coming off a 38-23 road loss against the Toledo Rockets on Saturday. That came after they lost to Eastern Michigan 28-14 to open conference play at 0-2 in their first season in the MAC. UMass offense is led by quarterback Tyson Famakan, who finished 26 of 40 for 259 yards with 1 passing touchdown and 1 interception against the Toledo Rockets. Their total offense stands at 356.5 yards per game, ranking 84th nationally, with rushing accounting for a solid 138.5 yards, 81st nationally. The passing game has been slightly better, ranking 71st with an average of 218.0 yards per game. The Buffalo Bulls are looking to be a force this season, but are coming off a brutal 38-0 road loss against the Missouri Tigers. That came after a win over FCS Lafayette 30-13 to open the season. Quarterback C.J. Ogbonna could not get going in this game as he went 8 of 20 for 55 yards and 1 interception. As a team, they are ranked 120th nationally in passing yards, averaging 125.0 per game. Buffalo's total offense, which averages 286.0 yards per game, 112th nationally, will need to find new ways to maintain its efficiency. The rushing game, contributing 161.0 yards per game, 62nd nationally, might see an increased emphasis to hand the ball off. This game originally opened with the Buffalo Bulls favored by 6 points, and now we have dropped an incredible 2.5 points so far. These teams have played 14 games against one another, and the most recent game was during the 2022 season, where Buffalo secured a 34-7 victory. The quality of opponent that these teams played last week shows that there is a difference as the Toledo Rockets and the now 6th-ranked Missouri Tigers, but the defenses allowed a very similar amount of points. The Minutemen have failed to record a single sack, interception, forced fumble, or fumble recovery throughout the first 2 games of the regular season. It will take them some time to adjust to their new conference foes coming from an independent status. Compare this to what the Bulls have done as they recorded 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble up to this point. UMass has failed to get going as they are struggling to defend and limit points as they are allowing a whopping 33.0 points per game. Go with the Buffalo Bulls to win this game at home against a former conference opponent at home by more than just a field goal. These teams saw this number drop another full point as it originally opened at 45.5 total points, so we lost a bit of value here. These offenses have failed to get going throughout the first 2 games this season as the Minutemen are scoring 18.5 points per game while the Bulls are averaging just 15.0 points per game entering this game. Neither team has been able to get much offense either out of their quarterback as Tyson Famakan and C.J. Ogbonna combined for 3 passing touchdowns in 4 total games, so there are not many chances at getting big plays or even getting the ball moving in the red zone. All in all, go with under 44.5 total points in this game as the better bet. Coastal Carolina versus Temple. Coastal Carolina's offense heavily relies on the run, with 74.03% of their plays being rushes, ranking 6th in the nation. They average 57 rushes per game, 2nd, gaining 5.2 yards per rush, 36th, and a total of 294 rushing yards per game, 6th. Defensively, they allow opponents to run 30 times per game, 35th, and give up 123 rushing yards, 52nd. In passing, Coastal's offense ranks last in pass play percentage at 25.97%, but they complete 65% of their passes, 42nd, for an impressive 12.9 yards per pass, 2nd. Conversely, their defense allows a completion rate of 51.85%, 24th, and 8.7 yards per pass, 102nd. Coastal Carolina has a perfect 2-0 record against the spread this season and successfully covered the point spread in their only road game. Dating back to 2023, they have covered the spread in 11 of their last 15 games and have done so in 5 of their last 7 away games. Furthermore, they boast a strong ATS record of 6-2 in games following a win in the 2023 season. This makes Coastal Carolina a solid betting choice in their upcoming matchup against Temple, who are still looking to find their footing. The Temple Owls have a low rush play percentage of 41.35%, ranking 109th, and they struggle on the ground, averaging only 2.0 yards per rush, 118th, and 55.5 rushing yards per game, 117th. Defensively, they allow opponents to rush 42.5 times per game, 111th, for an average of 257.5 rushing yards, 124th. In contrast, Temple's passing game is more productive, with a pass play percentage of 58.65%, 23rd, and 35.5 passes per game, 39th. They complete 59.15% of their passes, 69th, for an average of 5.7 yards per pass, 97th, totaling 202.5 passing yards per game, 67th. However, their defense allows a completion rate of 64.1%, 81st, and gives up 136.5 passing yards per game, 24th. The Temple Owls have had difficulties covering the point spread, failing in both games this season and maintaining a 3-11 record against the spread since 2023. In non-conference play, their ATS record is just 1-4, and they've only managed to cover the spread twice in their last 7 home games. These trends suggest that Temple may encounter a tough challenge against the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers this Saturday at home. This 2024 season, the Temple Owls have seen one of their 2 games go over the posted total, while since 2023, 7 of their 14 games have exceeded the total. In non-conference games since 2023, only 1 out of 5 has gone over. However, when listed as underdogs, the Owls have surpassed the total in 7 of 12 games since 2023. Coastal Carolina, on the other hand, has had both of their 2024 games exceed the total, although only 6 of their 15 games since 2023 have done so. As the away team, 3 out of 7 games have gone over, and in non-conference matchups since 2023, 4 out of 7 have reached over the total. Considering the explosive offense of Coastal Carolina and Temple's lackluster defense, betting on the over is the solid choice for this NCAAF Week 3 matchup.